with Posey at our regular meeting, and by doing so, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first order of business is the approval of the minutes, claim docket, and consent items that was sent to everybody. So we'll entertain a motion to approve those items.
I'll make a motion that we approve the claim docket, minutes, and consent items.
Second? Second. We have a motion by Mr. Schmidt and seconded by Mrs. Will to approve the consent items as presented. Any comments or questions regarding those?
Just want to congratulate Marby Redmond on his retirement after 48 years. He was my bus driver all through school. My kids are going to be really disappointed to see this, but he definitely deserves it.
Yep. That is a long time.
It's a long time.
And all the extracurricular activities that he.
There's going to be a lot of people missing some candy bars on some trip somewhere.
Yep.
I think the longest tenured person that we've ever had retire that I can remember has been 43.
Really?
So that might be the longest.
Wow. Yeah, second to congratulations to Marvin. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next item on the agenda is patrons' concern. We have none signed up for that, so we'll note as none being shown up. New business.
Just real quick, going back to the consent agenda, Dr. Warmuller had written a grant from the state, and it was approved over the weekend for the total of the grant's $100,000, and it can be spent on our SRO officers and or safety equipment. And in the grant, it's a 50% match grant. So we get $50,000 from the state, and we also have to put in $50,000. So, but in that, we have, and the grant award was $21,000 for a resource officer, which is the 42 that we have to pay the county. And then it was also for equipment for safety, $29,000, which would be $58,000 total for safety equipment. Angie wrote the grant, and we had things, you know, this grant was a long time ago before we created the safety committee. So what I'd like to do is, I think, give these two documents to Vince. Vince was appointed the chair of the safety committee. And so what I'd like to do is give them a copy of this grant so they can see what we put it in for and the limitations of the grant, and just turn that $58,000 over to the safety committee for them to spend, you know, from their audit. So if you'd give that to Vince, I know they've got a meeting coming up
Tomorrow.
Okay.
And it would still come through.
It still comes through for, it would come through as a recommendation that we'll have to approve.
Yeah.
So that was the recommendation before the risk assessment.
Okay.
And then, I don't know if this will be helpful or not, but it's pretty limited on its use. This benign equipment must restrict access or expedite the notification of first responders. That's it. And then that's the unallowable.
And then what that will do, you can show the committee what we've already got appropriated in there. If you want to change something, we have to do an amendment to the grant. So if the things that we've got listed or you want to move forward with, you just need to let us know and then make the request, and we'll go through that committee with our safety improvements.
And they've been very reasonable with prior amendments, as long as it fits within that criteria. Yeah.
Okay. This one, I meant to talk about that earlier, but forgot. Next on the list, asking the board president to roll over my contract, 3-year existing contract, and Dr. Wanamuller's 2-year contract. No terms or changes are being added to the contract. So I'm asking for the board to act on the rollover provision in the contract.
So I'll recommend that we do enact those rollover provisions as stated. So Dr. Walden-Miller's will be a 2-year rollover provision enacted, and Dr. Camp's will be a continued 3-year rollover provision enacted. And we'll entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the rollover of Dr. Long-Muller and Dr. Camp's contracts as listed.
So a motion by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mr. Stock to approve the rollover provisions as presented. Any comments or questions?
I think everybody kind of knows my thoughts on 3-year rollover contracts. I'll withhold further comments after the vote.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
That motion carries 4-1.
And my vote is not a reflection on job performance or evaluation. I've made pretty clear my thoughts on the 3-year contracts.
There is the contract. If you just, I mean, that's the addendum that you have to sign, so nothing in it's changed except the dates.
So we all sign this one, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
And this is for you to sign. While that's going around, I'll go ahead and start talking about the next topic. As I've been talking with you, we have 2 agreements that I need to sign with Pro Rehab. One is a lease agreement to the facility we have where we have Tri-State Community Clinics. I had Bill Bender, the school board attorney, draft a lease agreement for this. We have Tri-State Community Clinics in the building. They're in the building 12 hours, they're in the building 16 hours a week. 20 hours a week. 20 hours a week, excuse me. And Pro Rehab has been looking to come out here and provide us with an athletic trainer for our varsity home events. So they wanted to do that, but they did not want to do it without providing a service out here as well. They've done this in other communities, and usually you have Pro Rehab out, and then they tie in with the school and they provide the athletic trainer. We did it kind of backwards. So they got us a trainer, but then they wanted to get out here. They do not have a facility yet, but they want to get out here for the 1st of August. So we worked out an agreement with Tri-State Community Clinics and the space that we have out there. So we're going to have them go into this lease agreement with us. It's basically 3 months and then month to month after that. And it's $150 a month for them. We didn't really, they're giving us a discount on the athletic trainer, so we really didn't want to go in and charge them too much for the other piece. And I just wanted to make sure that they help cover the utilities and the things that they would be using while they were there, simultaneously with Tri-State.
So they're gonna be overlapping hours.
There will be overlapping hours, and they're working that out. They're working that out now. I did see a moving truck out there where they were looking to see if stuff would fit in certain places. They're working together at basically as we speak. So at this time, I'm asking the board to approve the athletic trainer agreement coverage for North Posey High School for $10,622, and also approve the lease agreement that Mr. Bender has created for them to be able to use our facility on a limited lease.
So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the contract with Pro Rehab and the lease agreement.
I'll second.
So So we have a motion by Mr. Stock and seconded by Mr. Oakley to approve contract, entering into a contract with Pro Rehab and the lease as presented by Dr. Camp. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Next, we have the Youth First Social Worker. Last month when I talked to you about the social worker, we talked about a one-year agreement. Perry has secured some funds for 3 years, would like for us to go into a 3-year agreement. As I've sent to you through emails, we definitely have some money to offset the first year with Title IV coming back. We would write that Title IV grant for that if we get that, which I think we'll get something. I can't tell you the exact dollar yet. And then Dr. Warmuller can continue to write competitive grants, and we can continue to try to find funds for year 2 and year 3 to offset our costs. But I really think at this time, both elementaries need and deserve a social worker as long as we can afford it. It's just, you know, we're gonna have to keep reminding everybody it's as long as we can afford it. So I'm asking the board to approve the 3-year agreement with Youth First for the social worker. Both elementaries will have a social worker basically full-time. The new social worker will then also go to the junior high at least 1 day a week. So every building will have a social worker, high school full-time, the junior high at least 1 day a week, and then the elementaries pretty much full-time.
Entertain a motion.
We make a motion to approve the 3-year agreement with Youth First.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion by Mr. Oakley and seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve the 3-year agreement with Youth First with social workers. Any comments or questions? The only one I have is if we can include language to give us an out with this being the biennium coming up. If something changes out of our control, we can exit the contract.
And we have the MOU here, and an MOU is a memorandum of understanding, and we'll just ask her to put a clause in there for that. And then Angie will do that. She speaks with Perry on a regular basis.
Full faith and confidence. Anybody opposed to having that included? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
At this time, I'd like to add the creation of a technology support technician, a level 2 technician. Jake has, we've sent you the job description, a base job description. We will then put that into a regular format, and then we would like to post for that position to see if we would get anybody. Before we would move any further with that process, we will come back to you and let you know the applicants and let you know whether we want to go that route or possibly go contracted services. But create the position, technology support technician, level 2 technician, and we'll get the job description posted and get the job posted. And we'll see what applicants we get before we move any further. I'd like to ask the board to create that position.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to create the new tech position.
Second.
I'll second it.
A motion by Mr. Oakley and seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve the creation of the IT level 2 position, job description, and begin that process. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
I'd like to ask the board to approve the professional leave request that are listed in the chart. Just want to make a note that, you know, we've been talking a lot about safety. Steve Cavanaugh, Aaron Kester, Shannon McMunn, and Angie Wannemuller are going to renew their safety specialist title. And then we're also sending Sean Fisher, you can see, to a couple of different trainings, and so he can begin the safety specialist training. So we have those administrators that have their safety specialist license. I'd like to ask the board to approve all those professional leave requests.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
I second that.
A motion by Mrs. Will and seconded by Mr. Stock to approve the professional leave request as presented. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Under reports, we provided you with the ISBA 2018 board candidate election procedures. So you have that at your, we have a board election coming up this coming year. Also, the fuel report for April. And then we also have a financial report that we're required to do for the DOE. And I need Amy's signature there, or I guess. Basically, that shows our funds and what we said we were going to spend, what we spent, and then there's a list of vendors that we spent it with, and we have to provide that to the state. Next, we have Dr. Wanamuller.
On the $15,000 planning grant that was issued to the Posey County Economic Development Coalition, Brittany Johnson was one that submitted the grant, and so we were one of the partners in that grant. And so I did attend the summit at Indianapolis, where it describes the different pathways and helps communities develop those pathways. The pathways can be used different ways. For instance, it can be used as a graduation requirement if a student completes that. What we're excited about is to offer the Polytech pathway in partnership with AstraZeneca and Salvi and Ivy Tech, and there's a list of about a dozen key partnerships in that. Ideally, whenever a student would complete a pathway, they would end up at the end of the school year, or at the end of their senior year, with a high school diploma, and then a certification, either a tech certification or an associate degree in that technology area. And then the partnership with that company would be they would even have a job waiting for them when they graduate high school. It's really targeting some of the first generation students, first generation meaning first generation in their family to have a tech certificate or an associate degree or college degree. So it's also hoping to help keep the kids in our area, our families in our area, and also it's another way to kind of combat the growing poverty or growth rate that we have in the northern part of the county as well. So I was excited about everything that we learned about at Indianapolis. We have another planning meeting next week with all the key partners, and what I would like to do at a future board meeting, once I get more information about what that pathway will look like, present to you that information. And then ideally, they were saying that a good starting place would be if you could offer 4 to 6 different pathways for the students. So this will be our first one.
So those pathways are like career specific then?
Yes.
Like welding, electrician, or?
It's
It's
broader than
broader than
that,
that.
yeah. Like the Polytech pathway is more for advanced manufacturing type jobs.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's also medical pathways.
Okay.
So it's pretty
But
exciting.
yeah, I think this ties in to the whole workforce development
Mm-hmm.
process and kind of going backwards and trying to drive the pipeline from the bottom rather than recruit from the top. So
Right, so we'll look at what our coursework, what we offer that will match the certification needing, whoever is going to offer the associate degree, whatever institution that would be, whether it's at Ivy Tech or whether it would be Purdue, as far as an associate degree, whatever institution that would be, then we'll have to fill the rest of the holes with where we're gonna get those other coursework. I mean, that's part of building that pathway.
and these partnerships as they develop, hope, like she said, hopefully the end goal is that then the industry and businesses in our community start even sponsoring this to a higher level to where these kids guaranteed may be the wrong word, but have a strong indication that if they complete the pathway, there's a job waiting for them at company X.
Cause the internship's part of that pathway.
Right. So that's that kind of whole concept about our kids staying in our area, our industry, kind of recruiting our kids, and that should snowball for us, for the county, I should say. So that's been a lot of work on your guys' part, so we appreciate that. I know
It's doable.
it is doable,
It's very
and the county has received, I think, been received pretty well from the state level on what we're doing and what we have to offer down here. So.
Next, we have Vince. Vince is the chair of the safety committee. He's going to give us an update.
The study committee on safety, which was created at the last board meeting, held its first meeting on June 26th. Chief Deputy Tom Latham, Corey Mock from the state police, all building principals, and myself were in attendance. Erin Kester is going to be the secretary. She's taking minutes of each of these meetings. And first of all, I just want to thank these folks because this is going to be a lot of time, and they're volunteering this time for this committee. It's definitely above and beyond their contracted obligation. And the first meeting we discussed the goals, and we established a goal of holding one major large-scale drill at each school building every year, shooting for sometime around March of next school year. Building-specific staff training is going to be scheduled by each principal. North Elementary has already scheduled their first one, and that's going to be run through Chief Deputy Latham and Corey Mock from the state police. They're kind of tag teaming that. And they are hoping to kind of kick this off at the teacher orientation day with a short 30-minute presentation, if there is time for that. And they just want to talk to all the staff, since they'll all be in one place, kind of let them know what their goals are for the year. They said it shouldn't take more than 30 minutes. On June 28th, so 2 days after the first meeting, we started safety walkthroughs, and we kind of reached out to some experts to assist in this. Jody Cumby from Vanguard, who does all of our alarm systems, he went through the buildings with us. Lane Moats Construction and Adam Schmidt from Nix, just so there were some different viewpoints, different expertise on looking at things from a safety mindset. We will be meeting tomorrow morning to go through the list of things that we came up with from the walkthroughs. Pretty extensive list. We're going to try to prioritize these as needs, what we can fix immediately, and I'm sure there's going to be some long-term goals as well. A lot of it is going to be training oriented, kind of teaching people to think different mindset on things. After the meeting tomorrow, the goal will be to start reviewing and revising the standard response protocol, the reunification plan, and adopting a threat assessment protocol for the district that meets the state guidelines. So there's a lot of work to be done. We're trying to kind of put things out via the social media positions at each school when it's school specific. Of course, it won't be many details to this, but just to let people know that there are things going on. It's gonna be quite a bit of work. That's where we're at right now.
Thank you for sitting on that committee and chairing it.
The other thing that there is time in that. Matter of fact, we were talking about that meeting, the first kickoff meeting. You know, we like to have the giveaways, we like to have the breakfast, and then we like to go through some things. Dr. Wannermuller has to go through some stuff, and we were talking about something safety. So I'll need to get with them, and we'll try to figure out how to work that in.
We were trying to make sure they knew there wasn't much time there. It's a pretty tight schedule, but they said they thought they could.
And we're changing the schedule a little bit this year for the first time in a long time. What we're doing is we're going to have our meeting, and then the association is going to have their meeting, and then they're going to break out and go to their buildings, and then they'll have the building specific meeting at their own building. So we've never really done that before. always done everything at that complex, but we're gonna switch that this year. Several people wanted to do that, so I think it'll work out. So we might be able to squeeze in just enough time for them to be able to do that.
Okay.
And then Dr. Watermuller has been working on the September, I forgot, it's got a name, the safety, thing.
Oh, yeah, the Safety in Our Schools program.
It's separate from what you're doing, but it's another avenue where we're gonna call the community in, but that group will be highly involved. In doing that. Okay, and then we did, redid the board schedules, a couple of times, and we backed up the budget. I just wanted to make sure everybody remembered, in August, we'll be asking permission to advertise. And then September, in September, we'll be advertising, so we won't need to do a whole lot at the first September meeting. But September 24th is when we have our hearing, and then we're gonna adopt in October this year. So I just wanna make sure everybody has those on your calendar, make sure that you can be here for those things. Because the budget is gonna take a whole new look, and so we'll be stumbling around talking about it a little bit.
I cannot be here for the August meeting on the 13th, right?
Yeah.
And I cannot be here, so is anybody else cannot be?
We're asking permission to advertise. The adoption and the hearing are the two important ones. And that's September 24th and October 9th. And October 9th, that's the day that we're getting back. And I went ahead and I think if we set that for 3, I think everybody can be back from Indy by 3.
That's the September
I'll
date.
come back to
Yes,
that, okay.
yeah, that's the September meeting.
Yeah, I won't be driving, so whoever can get us back here.
Whoever
gets
can
us
get us
back.
back, that'd be great,
Uh,
right?
And we got executive session for 3 and the board meeting at 4.
4, I think that's doable.
Might have to call some safety committee.
Vince, on the safety study committee, what do we think about, inviting, substitute teachers that are, to come to those drills, or a drill, or letting them
What they've
know?
been talking about is, at each school, making sure that it's an open invitation for cafeteria workers, the folks on the substitute list, kind of doing it at each school. 'Cause
Anybody
there's
that
some of
works
them
at the
that,
school.
that work only at one school, so they may only be interested in that, but that has been
Good.
addressed.
Because I would, how many subs do we have in the building at any given day? I mean,
Yeah, it depends.
very rarely do we have a day without a sub in there, so, and I would think they would wanna at least I'd wanna extend the invitation to them
Absolutely.
if we can. And then, something to think about as we start, getting to the point of deciding what's needed and where those funds come from. I think putting some sort of an opportunity for the public to donate, giving them a vehicle to do that, would be interesting to see what the response is, because there were a lot of people that voiced concern about the situation and willingness to want to help rectify it. This would be a good opportunity for them to see what's needed and what the costs are, and give them an opportunity to help defray some of those costs. So that's it.
We need to update a policy. We'll do that. I will give you the policy in August, the North Posey High School transcript policy. We need to update that policy, so I'll get that. We'll get it updated and get it to you. Hopefully we can do that in the August meeting. And the next regular meeting is August 13th at the board office, executive session at 5:30. Regular meeting is at 6:30. We'll have a September the 10th meeting, and the September 10th meeting has been moved to September the 11th. As soon as we get back from our meeting in Indianapolis, and executive session will begin at 3, and regular meeting will be at 4. We'll make sure that's posted so people know that.
Can we, back on the budget, can we make sure, since it's gonna be a change in the format, that we spend some more time discussing that and kind of the ins and outs? Anybody else have anything for the good of the cause?
Legislatively, Indiana House District 64 is gonna change hands in January. We know who's gonna be in there now. It's gonna be your North Posey graduate, Matt Hosteller. Tom Washburn is not running for re-election. Matt is unopposed in the general election. I've already spoken with him a little bit. He's very interested in learning more about education and how it's affected through state politics. And hopefully he's gonna try to come to one of our meetings sometime before next year.
And that reminds me, I forgot to mention that I'll be attending that meeting this weekend, the legislative committee weekend, so if anybody has, or wants to see what the packet is, let me know, I'll email to you. Find out more of the process. When you can open it up, let me know what your thoughts are, so
Okay,
if there's anything that you need to bring up or push.
okay.
And then, do I need to, can I get a van for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what we normally do, or what would you rather me do?
Shoot me an email, let me know, and then
Okay.
I'll have the date and time.
Where are you leaving?
Saturday?
He's leaving this Saturday and coming back,
I'm leaving early Saturday morning,
so you can
maybe get Friday night. You know, they don't set these meeting times for us at
Yeah,
all.
no,
All right, anything else? We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
A motion by Mrs. Will, seconded by Mr. Schmidt, so we are adjourned. All right. Yeah, I'll be